Hey heroes, welcome to the Hosts4Hire podcast. We are your hosts for hire. I am Kyle Cage. This is Lucas Rand. Today we're going to first right off the bat give a shout out to Chris from TikTok because he suggested that we play this new indie game that's come out called Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
I'm sure you guys have
Now
all
this
heard
is
of it. It is extraordinarily popular right now. Like
yes,
it
for
is
good
taken
reason.
sweep. And yes, for
Right
good
off the bat,
reason.
I want to say we want to do a spoiler-free episode,
Yep.
so don't worry about having anything ruined. So don't click off because you think we're gonna ruin something.
Yep.
We're gonna do
Gonna
our
be
very
fully
best
spoiler
to
free. We're
not.
gonna do a full spoiler episode as well, later on. But Kyle just started the game and I'm almost to the end. I'm
Yeah,
about 90 hours in. And I feel like I have explored this game out to its peak, and now I believe at what is the last boss.
yeah. So in a few weeks, we're gonna probably do an episode where we do the whole game. So make sure you play it by
Yes,
then, so you can come back and join us for that one.
yes.
We're gonna also, maybe probably pull some topics from Colin, so we join us in for that. Make sure
That
to head
being
over.
said, oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Sorry, I was just gonna do the thing. Make sure to head over to Hosts4Hire podcast. Give us a like, share, subscribe on all the socials. Hosts4Hire podcast. Uh, Take it away.
What I was gonna say is, all that being said, this to me needs to be game of the year. It's early. We're halfway through the year. I don't know what game could come out. If a game comes out that is better than this game, our cup runneth over as gamers. Like truly, this better not be some Astrobot BS like what happened at the last year's awards. Like
Yeah,
this
that was
game,
disappointing.
this game, in my opinion, should have won over last year's candidates, which would have been Wukong and Rebirth and Astrobot, I fucking guess. Which is a great game, just not
Yeah,
deserving of
yeah.
that title.
It's too early for me to tell, but I'll take your word for it.
Dude,
Like
it is
that's pretty high praise
exceptional.
because
For me,
for
there's
for me,
things that
Rebirth is
oh
one of the best games ever made.
same. And it's hard to beat 250 hours of content.
That's
You know what I mean?
fair as well.
I will still hold that it is, because one, it's original.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has been done like it. It's a completely unique story. It is so
Yes.
captivating, incredible, artistically,
All of the
visually.
little side characters, all the little side characters they have in it are
Oh,
so
dude, the
great.
Gestrels. They're
Yeah,
some
and
of my favorite created concept fantasy creatures in anything that in any sci-fi. Please, you guys, get in the comments. Tell me if you've played this game, if you agree with that. How much do you love these little creatures? I love the way they speak like minions. It's almost
I want to play a little base building or tower defense game.
Just based on Gestrels.
Based on the Gestrels, where you're defending against Nevrons coming at the village.
Here it is.
We gotta keep that in
mobile
mind.
game like that would be so
Dude,
fun.
that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Letters, Kyle. And if you guys like that idea, comment letters in the comments, and we will know what you're talking about.
That was a real-time letters to the editor.
Attaboy. But dude, for real, to me, there's checks that all great RPGs have to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to all the way back in the day. This game is a beautiful mashup of every good or not good, every great RPG from the PlayStation 1 era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Lot of Legend of Dragoon influences
that
in this.
Final Fantasy 9 with the not really, the Final Fantasy 9 system was you'd wear the equipment, and then after you wore it for long enough, you didn't have to wear that equipment to get the ability for it.
Yeah,
anymore.
And the Pictos are kind of similar. Yeah, similar but different. Same but different.
Dude.
And that's a key point we wanted to make too, is that it's its own take on all of these very classic mechanics. Yep. They have their own spin on it and their own signature feel, yep, even though it does feel like a mashup of a bunch of different games and not
feels
just
original
JRPG. Still. Yeah, and I don't know if it's because we're playing on the expert difficulty, but the other I would say it's JRPG and Soulsborne.
Yes,
it's very much the maps. There's no mini map, but even not being on expert, even being on normal or story difficulty, there still are a lot of aspects of the Soulsborne game, specifically when it comes to the maps,
Yep.
because each map there isn't a mini map for, so you kind of have to find your way around and remember where they are.
Create the
But
map in your mind.
and different paths usually loop back around and
Yes.
lead back on
Which is
themselves,
also very Souls-like.
I keep getting Soulsborne vibes, and then when you put it on expert difficulty, it becomes a Souls game.
It ain't no joke. No hate to anybody that obviously not everyone's a sadist like you and I, and likes to just like be destroyed by games. Like that's something that I enjoy. If I'm not losing in a game, I'm finding no joy.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like a
Well,
weird
see,
thing. Like
I want it to be challenging, but I don't want it to be too much. I was just talking to my brother about this, talking to Dylan, and there's a line that I think the Soulsborne games kind of step over sometimes with
I can
games
agree
like
with that.
Sekiro, and like even like Elden Ring at times got to this point, but
Nio.
not as bad. Nio, oof.
That
But
game is my bane.
where when you finally, what I'm trying to get is when you finally beat the boss, sometimes in those games, there isn't, I wouldn't
Satisfaction.
describe the feeling as satisfaction, but more relief.
Yeah.
Whereas this game, I have only felt satisfied upon beating
No,
it.
100%.
And to be fair, a boss hasn't taken more
I
than,
don't
like
think this game, like
10,
being like
15 minutes.
late, like into it that I am, I don't think it's as hard as any of those games you listed. Like it's not as hard as any of those games. Like it is hard. Like don't get it twisted. And I have been pulling my hair out at some parts. But there is a part where you have to do 15 parries in a row. 15.
Perfectly timed.
It doesn't sound like a lot, you guys. Let me tell you, it is an exuberant amount. That's an extraordinary number in this situation. All right? Awful.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I do find it really interesting, just
But like you said, it's that satisfaction you get out of it. It's never to the point where it's like, man, I don't even want to do this anymore. I just have to get past this, and I'm like not even getting joy.
Yeah,
you know,
which I felt several times playing
like Nio.
all the Souls, and even like God of War on the second hardest difficulty. There were times where like it was just tough, like where it was just like it was when you finish it, there's no.
See,
elation.
And that brings me
It's
back to my
like,
original point. Is like, okay, like not everybody likes that, right? I'm a person who I do like that. Like I beat my head on the Berserker King for 9 straight hours without stopping. Like that's just something I like that. It's weird, but I like it. That being said, though, I do think that this game is meant to be enjoyed at the hardest difficulty. I think like needing to parry and needing to dodge and not like
it's entire mechanics of the game that you can ignore if you're not.
Yes, like in order to enjoy the full mechanics of the game, you really have to be in that difficulty. Even though, yes, it is frustrating and it sucks, and you have to like get to that gruel of like fighting the same fight a few times over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
it's so.
But again,
satisfying.
I haven't had
so satisfying.
Yes, very satisfying. Like I literally beat a boss yesterday at like 2 a.m. and like yelled out loud. Like I was like, like I was it's been a while since I've felt
the
this
vibe of getting your place trash when you beat a boss in this game is so it's extreme. It's very high.
Especially one that has one-shot you with a move that hits you 5 times and any single one of those hits kills you instantly.
Yeah, it's extreme. But okay, so what my actual very original point was is that there's like these things that as gamers, great RPGs have to have, in my opinion. That's like story. Like that's numero uno. Like I played Final Fantasy my whole life, and the reason is story. Like a great RPG to me needs to have that at the forefront. This is very much that.
Yeah.
Like very much that. And then afterwards just kind of comes like badassery. Like lots of weapons. You know, like that's something I enjoy in like my RPGs. Like that's something from like Final Fantasies that just like gets my like meh. And then like then
moves, different skills and abilities that you can attach to different characters.
Yep. And then for me it's customizable looks. That's something for me that's like super big. This doesn't have it like extreme, you know. I'd say like, you know, like it's not like every piece of gear you have has a different look, like God of War. Like I really enjoy that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
like,
awesome. Yeah.
It's very different, but there is still a lot of gear to like get, and that's something I just love that. Like I just love that so much to not have to have the same model. That's something from the Final Fantasy games. Like not all great RPGs have everything. Not all of them
Yeah.
hit every mark.
Yeah.
But
You know,
like
it's
this one
interesting.
does. Because
You know,
like
what's
Final
interesting is
Fantasy
that something.
7, for an example, you couldn't customize how Cloud looked like. You know what I mean? Or like
No.
how any of the characters looked like. It was like
Yeah.
it was too base for that. Or like Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't do any of
Yeah.
that. So they didn't hit that mark, but they hit all the other marks so extraordinarily well. Like a good example is Legend of Dragoon. You only had one weapon. Like you had other
Yeah.
ones, but the look of your weapon was only one for the whole
Yeah.
game. But it hit so well on the other parts that didn't matter. And this game to me hits like all of it. Like it's just
Yeah,
like this
and I
perfect
would argue that at the time that wasn't an expectation. That
totally
wasn't something people had done before. Now we've gotten so much of it.
100%.
Now it's if you don't have it,
100%.
people are going to be upset, rightfully
A good
so. You
example
know.
of that is like Legend of Dragoon didn't have the weapon customization, but Chrono Cross did. Where like the weapon you
Hmm.
change weapons and it changed
Same
the
with
look of the weapon.
Final Fantasy VII.
Yep,
Final
exactly
Fantasy
right. You
VII,
know,
the
so like
original had the different
suddenly that
weapons. Yeah.
matters now. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like now, like on the next games, like that's like a thing that's like, whoa, you can't go back.
Yep. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, that's hilarious because you're right. Once that happened,
You can't go
every
back.
game had it.
You can't go
Every
back.
game has
Every
it.
like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Interesting. But another thought I didn't even realize it until right now that this game doesn't have gear. It has weapons, like you each have different
right, but
weapons,
there's
but
no
there's no
gear.
like
Yeah.
gear.
Hmm.
There's which is interesting.
That's what I was saying. There's customizable clothing, but it's not like
Yeah,
God of War where
your
like each
aesthetics.
piece of gear is a different aesthetic. You know,
Well, and it has a function,
right?
whereas like there is no gear in this game, which like
It's very
I don't know,
interesting.
that's interesting. Like again, there's certain little things that show that why it's $50, why like how it was a small indie company. Not to say it's any worse because of that, but it's just there are certain things that are we were talking about those standards that are
Yeah,
in games.
totally.
RPGs have gear like that,
Yeah,
This one
totally.
doesn't, but it doesn't really take away from it that much because
I
of the
like how I
picto
was just about to
system.
say
They
I'm not
kind of
missing it.
replaced it with the Picto
Yeah,
system.
exactly.
Like I've been playing 10 hours and I just hit me as we're talking about the
Yeah,
like in it like what? How did I not even think about the fact that there's no gear in the game?
yeah,
That's a testament
yeah.
to how good the other aspects are.
100%. And like the like you were about
Um
to say, the Pictos, there's so many and there's
mhm.
so much to their ability system that like it completely takes over. Like needing like
What's missing?
needing boots
Anything that
and
might be
pants
missing.
and chest gear and like all of that. Like the pick because like what I was not to keep comparing it to God of War, but that's just kind of where my brain goes for like elite RPG, like modern time.
Modern, yeah.
Uh is each piece of gear had an ability. And like it
Mhm.
mattered what you were wearing because you wanted those abilities of that specific piece of gear. Whereas this,
Determined by your play style.
the abilities are the Pictos and the Luminas. Like right, determined by your playstyle. But like this, like the gear doesn't come with the abilities. The abilities is baked into the
Character
mechanic
because
and the like
uh,
system
of
of
the
the game.
character. Well, like
Very
not just the
cool.
game itself, but each individual character.
For
Because
sure.
that's one of my favorite
Mhm.
aspects of this is that each character has their own unique mechanic.
Yes.
Like, like they're very different from each other. Each character plays differently and has a different role to play,
Mhm.
which like most RPGs, but the how unique their mechanics are, how they each have a very specific mechanic set is really
Ciel
unique.
or Shiel or however you say her name
Yeah.
is one of my favorite characters in that concept. Like
Yeah.
she not I've never played another RPG that has a character like that where you like do the like whole setup, build your fortune cards, and then like consume the
Hmm.
fortune cards for damage.
Yeah.
It's
And like
so cool to me, man. I
not to
just
try and like
love it.
yeah, another one I really like is oh god, Lune. The way
Mm-hmm.
her stains work, the way like
Yes,
you
yes,
use an earth
yes,
spell, it stains you with earth
yes.
elemental,
And then
and
you
then
can
you can
consume
utilize
that to
those
make
to
another one
boost further.
stronger. It's
That
so
is
dope.
it's
So dope.
genius. It's
And there's
absolutely
another
genius.
character you haven't met yet that
Yeah, that
has
I'm excited.
it's so cool, Kyle. And it's another it's the most classic RPG thing from like the PlayStation 1 era, from like the old
Hmm.
Final Fantasy eras, where there's how can I describe this character in a way that Kamari, you know how he
Hmm.
has the system where he has to get the elements from the enemy ability?
Blue magic. Yeah.
You feel like that enemy ability mechanic that like so
Yeah.
many old RPGs have,
Yeah.
that's brought back in this character, and it
Nice. Yeah,
fills me.
blue magic is what
It
that is. Yeah,
it it,
blue.
it
It's
just
yeah.
fills me with so much joy, like so much joy.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
I love
There,
it
you know,
so much.
and we've been glazing it a lot. Not to say there are some things that obviously could be worked on,
For
could be
sure.
better. Again, there's certain things like the exploration and like not like like you had talked earlier about marking things that you've collected as like completed or that you've explored the area, and I really wish they had that, but I do see from their perspective, and I don't want to speak for them, but it feels like they omitted some of that stuff to extend the place time of their game so
Oh,
that you
for
kind
sure.
of have to wander a little bit more
Oh,
so
for
that
sure.
you can't
I'd be
just jump
wandering.
from one place to another.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it
Let
is a
me tell you,
beautiful
I'd
they
be wandering.
they are beautiful landscapes, so I don't really mind wandering around them. I find myself walking around and just looking
Oh
up
yeah,
around and being
I
like, "What was
haven't
I doing?"
had a single point where I'm like, man, this game is feeling long. All I'm feeling is, oh man, I'm feeling like this game's coming to an end, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. That's the only feeling that like
hmm
comes to me. The reason I think that it would be really cool to have like a check on stuff is for stoner brain. This
Yeah.
game,
Well,
let me
like
tell you this, is not conducive to the old stoner brain.
Well, like
Cause
there's no icons for objectives. There's no icons for shops.
that
There's no
like
icon. There are very, very few icons
that I
and
don't
no
mind.
mini map.
I like having the like mystery. Like if you don't find a shopkeeper, you just don't find him. That
Yeah.
I really like because I'm a like that gamer that I explore every nook and little cranny of games. So like having little gems like that is cool to me.
Yeah.
What I wish there was is like on the overworld, like let's say you walk up to the redwoods. If you have collected everything in the redwoods, if there's a shopkeeper in there, you found it and bought everything in the shop. If you fought all the like main boss fights in there, if you collected all the collectibles in that specific area, then like it would just be grayed out or have like a
Yeah.
check
Or
next to
something.
redwood,
Or like
some
anything. Or
form
like
of
having like
mark to
a
let you
symbol.
know
Like what
that
I
you
would
don't
want
have to
would
go
be
back
like
in there. That like
a symbol for each of those things you listed and having a little like having them X'd out.
sure,
Like,
like
okay, you
whatever
X'd
it
out
is,
all these.
it doesn't
Or
have to
even
be
just
anything
yeah.
specific, but whatever mark that they could come up with would be
Yeah.
lovely to have.
Yeah. The other thing with like shopkeepers going along with that, I just actually just had the thought like what I think would be cool is if you go into a shop, even if you don't buy everything, if you interact with that shopkeeper at some point, say at the Jestro Village or like somewhere that's like a main focal point of the game that you can go back
Hmm.
to at any point. Um, Going and having a place that every shop you've gone to, if you haven't bought the items there, they go to that
Oh,
place.
and
So
doing
like
like a
end game
central shop.
yeah, so like end game, if you've talked to if
Interesting.
you've again, it goes back to
If
saying
you've interacted
if
with the
exactly if you
Mhm.
miss the shopkeeper, you miss
Right,
this.
right, right, right.
But if you didn't miss the
That's a cool
shopkeeper and
idea. I like that.
didn't have the currency or didn't have the time or something like whatever it may be, and then eventually end game you get this central shop that you're able to just buy whatever you've
I
missed
like
from,
that. That's
whether it
kind of
be
cool.
cosmetics or yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be a good addition. But
Uh,
again, like
Here's something
they
that like came to me like right as I started playing the game. After I've been like now I've kind of like gone back on this a little bit, but right as I started playing the game, I wanted a much higher number of playable characters in this game. Now here's the reason.
Mhm,
Now, actually, here's how I'm going to preface this. First, I'm going to say why I don't think so anymore. Well, why I don't think so anymore is that the number of characters that there are, like you were saying, they're so unique. They're so like
mhm,
fleshed out. Like all of their abilities are so detailed that I love every single one of them so much. So
mhm.
like in that vein, like there's a perfect amount of characters. But like in the sense that I think they created one of the coolest concepts to have a game like back in the day, like Chrono Cross, or like the game. What's the name of the game that you play with like
Uh
144 playable characters?
Suikoden, it's
Yes,
108 stars.
like
Yeah.
like those. That was like a thing of the past too. That I really think that
Mhm,
they had a great opportunity to bring back in this game. Just the concept of the expeditions over time and like the failing of them and certain ones go maging and like certain people not go maging. like certain gestrels that become warriors and like would join your party, certain other characters that you'll meet later on that could join your party,
You know,
would just
sorry.
be so cool, man.
I agree 100%. But you know what's interesting about this game and trying to talk about it spoiler free? There's so many terms that are complete nonsense or like French that
Yeah,
like people don't
yeah,
understand that we can
totally.
use these terms and not spoil
Yeah,
anything. Like you could say that the gommage, no one knows what the hell we're talking
yeah,
about.
100%, 100%. Unless you've played the game, I do love that. That's 100% true. That's great. Or like gestrels, or like anything like that.
Gestrels or
Uh,
Eskia.
Dude, if you guys have played this game, I'm dying on the hill that SK is one of the best fantasy characters ever created in any form of media ever. His voice actor deserves like
Actually,
I don't know what the
I looked him up.
awards
I
for voice
looked him up
actors are.
and he hasn't really done anything.
What a fantastic man.
Yeah.
Like he deserves his flowers, dude. Like, do you remember his name? Not that there's anybody watching, but if there's anybody watching, French guy, I love you,
French
dude.
guy. I don't know. I don't.
SK
Very
voice
French.
actor. I don't know the voice acting awards, but he deserves it, dude. What a beautiful. Every time he speaks, I am enthralled with what he's saying. I love it so much. If you guys agree, please get in the comments and let me know that I'm not just overglazing this character.
Maxence Cazorla.
Love you, dude.
That's. I mean, how was I going to remember that?
Yeah, no, I don't blame you for that, but I love you, dude.
Yeah, he did. He killed it.
Fantastic.
I really. One of my favorite. Again, I'm scratching the surface right now compared to you, but that is also, I will say, one of my favorite aspects of the game is just that character and just the goofiness of the side characters around
the game is actually
very
funny,
serious and very tragic overarching story. Like the main plot of the story is horribly tragic.
Yes,
There's
and
no
let me
way
tell you,
getting
bro,
around it.
I haven't laughed like at games. Like that's not something that really makes me laugh often. Like there's not very funny games. Like Kingdom Hearts, I guess there's some parts where I would like laugh because it's very Disney and it's very like cartoony. That's not really a RPG thing. Like, can you think of a time that you like laugh during games? Like, I'm sure that there is, but this game is like
there's like
pretty funny. Actually,
in general, when I think about like dialogue moments in RPGs, it's like
yeah,
that's like like oh man,
it's all sad, it's all intense.
My feels, or like oh, I've never thought of that. Like oh, that is such a deep concept. That's what it's always been about for me. That's going back to what we originally said at the top of the episode about story being the most important thing. And it's not just the story; it's the dialogue, it's the relationship between the characters and how it's built. And
Dialogue
these jokes and
in
these
this
funny
game is
these
funny.
funny moments. They build these characters to be so real. They feel like real people.
Dude,
and
I'm so excited for you to move on. If you guys have played this game, Kyle is at the cliffs. So if you know what that means, then you know what it means. And he's about to begin the game. The game is about to begin 10 hours in. I'm so excited for you.
That's not too bad. I've been playing through Final Fantasy 13 and I'm like 22 hours in and the game just started. So
you just got the Grand Pulse.
Yeah, literally like 24 hours into the game. It's stupid.
Absolutely. Kyle, what else can we say about this game before we wrap it up? Play it. Like this, we're not being sponsored by any means by anybody.
No,
but like
first off, play it. Highly recommend. What I did here, little tip here. What I did is I'm lucky enough to have a 14-day $1 free trial for the Game Pass for Xbox. If you have a PC, do that. You got 14 days to play it. If you can't beat it in 14 days, it's only $12 for the month. That's $13 to play this $50 game. Definitely worth it. Beautiful. Just make sure you cancel it. Don't be a dum like me and forget to cancel.
And honestly, if you're and that's just like if you're like us, right? But if you're a person that like has the money, this is one of those games. Buy it because they deserve the recognition.
Not it's $20 less. Because it's not
that's deal. A great point, dude. Because that's what I wanted to say is that not only is this a fantastic game that is worthy of Game of the Year, but they made it on choice $20 less than the industry norm. They could have made this game $70. There are $70 games out there with so much less content and everything put into it than this game. They 100% could have charged $70 for this game, and they chose not to. That us as a gamer fan base like if you have the money, I know right now a lot of us are struggling. Me, you, everybody like that we know, like so like that Game Pass is like
hence
the
hence the
way.
third hence the
Yeah,
$13
no,
worker.
exactly right. But like if you are one of the people who are fortunate enough to be okay financially, like right now, support this game because like
Yes.
I do find that that's important for the powers that be to know what we're into, and if a game is $20 less, that we're willing to purchase. That like the
Yeah.
gaming community isn't dying out; they're just asking a little bit too much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And and I hope people are still here and listening. And if you
Yes.
are, thank you so much. One aspect of this game that we've completely forgot to mention, I think, was the fact that it was made by like we kept talking about how it was small, but it was made by a group of developers who left Ubisoft
Yeah.
Montreal because they were being treated poorly, and they created this game. They wanted to make this game, and boy, am I glad that they did.
Thank
Because
you
it's
for
like
the shitty mistreatment of corporate America because sometimes it leads to some beautiful, beautiful stuff, man.
so the main point is we need to support this company
Yes.
too. We need to make sure that anything like because they don't. This is their first game, really. They have nothing. I
And
looked them up. They don't really have
hair.
much out. Yeah. So if we give them the attention and the funding that they deserve to make
We can
a
get more
full
stuff like
AAA
this.
game,
Yeah.
because like while I agree with you that so far the game is really good, it is still it's objectively it's not a AAA game.
Right.
It's just there's
Can you
certain
imagine
things.
what kind of like because it's beautiful aesthetically,
Yeah.
musically.
Yeah.
Like, can you
Oh, the
imagine
score. Oh.
if they had like God of War funding? I don't again, not to just keep bringing it over to God of War, but like, can you
or like
imagine?
or like or like FF7,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
or
dude.
like wow, like
Can
they
you
would be
imagine,
off the
dude?
charts. And there are certain things graphically, like where like if you're looking off in the distance, it's beautiful. There are certain moments where like I'm just literally standing in the camp and just staring
Yeah,
off at the
it's
eclipse, and I'm just
beautiful.
like, this is incredible. But then there are certain things where like on their faces, the textures aren't
Right.
they get a little rough
Mhm.
sometimes and very like. But overall, I haven't really noticed that much. But there's certain things like you wouldn't notice that if they had that little bit
Yeah,
more funding.
100%, dude.
So guys,
100%.
let's try and push this game and games like this. Get into the comments, please. Again, shout out to Chris. He's the one who gave us. Get in the
Yeah.
comments. Give us more suggestions like this game, indie games, small
Yeah.
games, things that you want people to hear about, so we can play them, we can talk about them, and as a
We can
community,
glaze them up
we
like
can.
this.
Well, as a community, we can get these things pushed to the forefront, so we don't get another 5-10 years of Fortnite being the most popular game in the world.
If you love Fortnite, all the power to you. But like, I couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Couldn't have said it better myself. Like, so as always, you guys, please like, share, subscribe if you like this type of content. If you just want to support two goons who are just trying to make it out here and pay full price for a game, maybe one day. Please like, share, subscribe at Hosts4Hire podcast. That's Hosts4Hire with the number 4. We're trying to hit that elusive 10K. So if you can help us get there, we will be forever in your debt.
Yes, we appreciate you all stopping by, and we will catch you with the next episode. See you
Peace.
there.